The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everyone, this is Kate from Wheels Up Network, and thank you so much for joining us today. And our wonderful presenter today is Gary Armstrong, G Adventures GPS, who will talk about how adventure travel can meet client needs during a global pandemic. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please ask them through a chat box on your control panel on the site. Just type any of your questions there, and we will answer them together at the end of the webinar. Thank you, and welcome, Gary.
Amazing. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to learn a little bit more about, how agencies and how agency can survive and thrive during the disruption that is the global pandemic, and how adventure travel can meet client and agent needs during this difficult time. So, hi, everybody. I'm Gary. I'm a G Adventures GPS here in Canada. So I look after Alberta, as well as Eastern and Northern Ontario. I've been working at G for the last 4 years now, and I'm really excited to talk a little bit about meeting client needs. So talking about the experiences that adventure travel and G Adventures in particular can offer to your clients, talk about safety and value as well. And ultimately, I wanted to speak to tools for you as well, how at G we are working to meet your needs, to help you reach new markets, drive the conversation, the positive conversation around travel and tourism, and speak to some of the learning tools, resources, and support that are available to you as agents of change in this industry. And of course, at the end, we will have time for questions. Please type them in the questions panel or the chat box as I go through, so that we can make sure that we're answering those questions at the end. So I want to start off with talking a little bit about meeting those client needs, and firstly around experiences. So ensuring that you are able to offer to your clients experiences that are compelling, that will, drive that passion within them to go and explore the world again. At G Adventures, we've always been about culturally immersive trips, about providing life-changing experiences to travelers and allowing people to get off the beaten path, to explore, to meet with local people in destination, to have those culturally immersive experiences that lead to real change in often cases in people's lives and the way that they see the world. And we are one global society. We are all in this together. And I'm not speaking about one industry or one country. I'm speaking about the global community. And there's nothing like going and visiting another destination and seeing a people and learning about their history and culture and immersing yourself in their way of life to understand how closely connected we all are, to give yourself that opportunity to get a little bit lost. And I don't mean lost on the map. I mean to be immersed in that culture, like getting lost in a good book, to just be completely absorbed in the place and be absorbing all of the experiences, the sights and sounds of being in that destination. It's what we all miss right now, with the excitement of getting on that plane and arriving somewhere, and as soon as the door opens, having that different smell, that heat or that cold, knowing that you're in a different place, and having that culture shock as well, and giving yourself up to it and pushing your comfort zone and enjoying that opportunity to have new experiences. You're not alone in this. You're part of that small group of travelers who you'll meet when you get there. Intrinsically safe to have a smaller group versus a larger group, to get to know the people that you're with, to understand that you've all chosen that destination out of the hundreds of destinations you can go around all over the world, and that travel style, because it's the way that you want to experience and explore yourselves. That if you're a solo traveler, there's no penalty to that, there's no extra costs. If you are happy to pair with a like-minded solo traveler of the same gender, to pay the same as everybody else on that trip, or if you do want your own room, I'll speak to the options available for that further. And to, with the uncertainty that we have in the current marketplace, to have that lifetime deposit that you can't lose, to save your space for future trips. And when I speak to value later on, it's another thing to speak to, and another opportunity to close with your travelers to say, hey, now is a great time to book travel. So there's lots and lots of reasons. I could talk about experience for an entire hour. I won't. I'll just highlight some of the reasons that have made G Adventures the company that we are today. The fact that we have local guides, we support local communities, we work proactively through our nonprofit partner Planetera with G for Good to ensure that travelers are having a positive impact and can see that they are having a positive impact simply by going on that. Are flexible, they're fun, there is that freedom to explore at your own pace and do your own thing. But part of the experience and critical right now is meeting client needs around safety and security and mitigating the risk of transmission and the spread of COVID-19. You know, there are international guidelines that GE Adventures is abiding by. Obviously, there are local guidelines, and we have our own protocols in place to ensure that travelers can travel with confidence with GE, that you are going to be implementing the same kind of minimize risk, physically distance, you know, maintaining social and physical distancing, and you know, increased hand hygiene and also cleaning of communal areas. And you know, we are lucky that we'll be able to take a holistic approach to this. That before you join us, as part of the good to go paperwork, we're sending out those health questionnaires. When you arrive, your CEO is going to be there to help support you to ensure that everybody is feeling safe and happy and well. You know, bring in protocols while you're on the tour and ensure that everybody is comfortable when they're leaving the destination as well. Our CEOs, the chief experience officers, the tour guides on our trips have always been critical to providing the best experiences for our travelers. And again, we're just layering things on top. We're not having to radically change the way that we operate as a company. There's definitely protocols we're bringing in, but our chief experience officers have always been empowered to make decisions on the ground for the benefit and safety and security of our groups, to explain cultural differences when you arrive in a destination. If you're, you know, arriving in Thailand and, you know, the CEO will explain the rules around the monarchy and not speaking disparagingly of that institution. And the same way they will now talk to the health and safety guidelines and rules around wearing masks and mitigating the risk of transmission. So, you know, we have tools and resources that already are extremely effective at making sure that people are feeling safe in destination. And it's just, you know, increasing on that and building off of the solid base that we have as an organization. Again, with smaller groups, it makes this task much more manageable for our CEOs to have 8, 10, 12, you know, maximum 16 people in a destination and be able to ensure their health and safety and ensure everybody's following the rules and guidelines is much simpler with smaller groups. And of course, you have that in-group relationship where, you know, when you get on and off the bus and you're used to putting your mask on and sanitizing your hands, it just makes everything much more easy. And then, you know, we do have options around solo travelers being able to have their own space, to book their own room. With our Travel with Confidence Plus collection, there is a 50% reduction in cost of my own rooms. We have control over our transportation, our accommodation. So, you know, when it comes to cleaning schedules and working with small suppliers to ensure that there is enough space on a vehicle so people don't feel like they're too close together, working as far as assigned seating on the vehicle, working with cleaning regiments on the vehicle, we have control over all those aspects. The same with the small locally owned and operated suppliers we use for hotel accommodation. We're not putting our travelers in 1,000-room, you know, hotels. We're using these smaller locally owned and operated suppliers, and you know, often there is no elevator to the 20th floor, right? You're just walking around the compound or taking the stairs to get to your room. And when it comes to food, the same, right? Breakfasts are included on most GE Adventures trips and most days. And so working with local suppliers to have go bags, right? You grab your breakfast box in the morning, you can eat it at your leisure in your room, or you know, when you're journeying in the morning. And then, you know, the CEO is able to then, you know, make recommendations of the best places to eat during lunch and dinner, to call ahead, to book rooms, to call ahead, to find space on the patio, to suggest great street restaurants where people can eat al fresco. There is lots of opportunity and diversity so people can feel safe when they're eating in destination as well. Ultimately, all of these protocols, these Travel with Confidence protocols that we are adapting and continuing to implement on our trips, the Travel with Confidence Plus collection is where these are all most evident and where they come together, where you have a max group size of 12 on those 40+ Travel with Confidence Plus collection trips. We have private vehicles throughout. There are no public buses that you'll be taking, no trains, Everything that's not an airplane is going to be, G Adventures taking you from A to B. The reduced cost of my own room and your own facilities when you're booking into those rooms as well. No shared shower blocks or anything like that on any Travel with Confidence Plus Collection tours. Right now, we have about 40 of those trips, some of them in the most popular destinations for Canadian travelers, the most popular destinations for travelers with G Adventures, trips to Bali, trips to Sri Lanka, if people are looking to enjoy the sights and sounds and culture and smells and food of India, but in a less densely populated environment. I could talk to Vietnam, I could speak to the amazing experiences I've had there, to the way that that culture and community and country has been able to really control the level and mitigate the spread of COVID. The list goes on. Morocco, Jordan, Egypt, the Thai sailing in the British Virgin Islands, sailing in St. Lucia, the small ships that we have, specific European itineraries, the Burgundy River Barge, traveling through Iceland, traveling through Turkey. I mean, Costa Rica, some of the most popular destinations that we have as an organization are part of this Travel with Plus collection. This is the focus for G Adventures when it comes to restarting our operations and continuing to grow the number of trips that we're able to operate as restrictions to travel globally starts to relax and consumer demand comes back. So there is going to be more content coming on this. We're launching our 2021 new trips very, very soon. You'll see an increase in the number of 18 to 30 something trips that are going to be part of this collection, where again, you will have private transportation throughout. So, more to come with this. And when it comes to wrapping up this idea of meeting client needs, of providing you with the right quote unquote product that is going to be in demand for your clients, spoken to safety, spoken to experience, value is a big part of this as well. It is a good time to be booking your 2021 travel. Right now, almost everything, every trip that G Adventures operates is on sale for 15% off for trips up until the end of October of next year. It's everything except National Geographic's Journeys itineraries because we're unable to put them on sale. It is premium product with G for the Nat Geo and Nat Geo family. Everything else, the Burgundy River Barge, sailing in the Galapagos, local living in Italy, traveling through these different remote and rural destinations, through these different places is 15% off when booked before the end of this month for travel up until the end of this month next year. So, a really great value add. It's also a value add when it comes to our private groups as well. Again, this ties in with experience and safety and value. There's always been a number of ways to book private groups with G Adventures. We have our tailor-made itineraries. We have our off-the-rack itineraries where you can take pretty much any G Adventures itinerary and create your own small group. But we do have Book Your Bubble as well, increasingly popular, these 80 different tours where you can create a Book Your Bubble trip. And the value add is that everybody on that group gets the promo price if that trip is on sale, which is, right now, everything apart from Nat Geo up until October of next year, everybody gets 15% off. The 8th passenger gets 50% off and the 12th passenger goes free. Again, with these Travel with Confidence Plus collection tours, the max group size is 12. If you have more questions, if you've got those families, those multi-generational families, groups of students who have had to study remotely and want to get together with their mates and go on a trip to various parts of the world, then this collection is a fantastic opportunity to promote a type of trip where it's just going to be them. It's going to be them and their local CEO having those culturally immersive, life-changing experiences as they travel through a destination that is likely going to be a little bit less busy than it usually is in 2021 compared to historically how busy those places are. And again, I can talk about the most popular destinations that we're seeing, about traveling to Jordan and visiting Petra and spending time in the deserts of that region and sampling the hummus and hiking the rivers and the mountains, going to Morocco, visiting the souks and the Casbahs, again, really immersing yourself in that unique culture and the unique geography of that part of the world. to travel to Costa Rica to learn about the wildlife, the fauna and flora, the conservation efforts, how coffee is grown and made in that destination, and to do those more adventurous, more active hiking trips in Peru, in various destinations around the world. This is just a sample of some of the ideas and itineraries that can be booked as book your own bubble groups with G Adventures for your travelers. Ultimately, we have a lot of different styles of travel for different types of traveler across a broad age range and a broad range of different psychographics, different people traveling for different reasons to different destinations around the world. G Adventures, we do have a lot to offer when it comes to different ways of seeing the world. And so, I'd like to speak a little bit about meeting your needs as agents of change as we go through this extremely disruptive period where demand is reduced, consumer confidence is not as high as it historically has been, and the support that is available to you from your GPSs, your global purpose specialists across the country, when it comes to reaching new markets. So yes, absolutely. Now is the time to be marketing to that segment of the population who is thinking about traveling. We work in the travel industry. Everybody is working extremely hard to ensure that we're mitigating risk. And there's a lot of positive things to focus on when it comes to booking trips in 2021 and beyond. So, generating those newsletters, ensuring that your clients know that the lights are on, that they can speak to you and ask you questions as they are in the dreaming phase, and then, increasingly in the booking phase of their next trip. There's lots of different ways to market. I mean, social media is one of those ways. I'd highly recommend, newsletters, local marketing. Again, there's 100 different ways of doing this. Social media is a fantastic tool to promoting your small business. And we have a webinar that we ran at the start of last month, just in regards to like a 101 on using social media and getting over the initial learning curve of this very broad way of marketing to clients. If you want more support, take a look at our Agents of Change Facebook page. Just type in G Adventures Canadian Agents of Change into Facebook. We put a lot of resources up there as well and can help to guide you when it comes to starting these conversations. We have our new G Adventures 18 to 30 somethings Agents of Change Facebook page as well. Erin just did the 18 to 30 something webinar yesterday. Again, when we talk about new markets, absolutely be speaking to your clients, show them that you are there. But if they're not ready to travel, there are other travelers out there. There are other clients. There are other members of your community that are looking to travel and are looking for more information on travel. The 18 to 30 something demographic, Gen Z, millennials are, seen to be one of those markets that is going to bounce back faster. And so we are working as an organization to ensure that we are sharing best practices and working with you to help attract these travelers to your business. So there's a fantastic webinar that Erin did yesterday. It's available in this Facebook group as well as the other, and I can send the link out in the follow-up to this presentation as well. We have the new Facebook group. We're going to be sharing tips and tricks and content in that group when it comes to marketing on social media and to this particular group. And then we do have a training module as well on the Agent Backpack in Sherpa also that will help you brainstorm, come up with ideas and tap into this market. Another great way to attract new markets is through business-to-business sales. I speak about this often. A great way to grow your client base, to reach new markets, and to support your local businesses and your local community that may also be struggling in many cases due to the impacts of COVID-19. It supports brand building, it supports community building. I've got some examples here. Working with local restaurants, working with specialty food markets, liquor stores, gyms, yoga studios, fitness groups, hiking groups. The list is long and plentiful. There are many different verticals of industries that may benefit from partnering with you as an expert in travel to help mutually benefit both businesses. Does this company that you're looking at have a social media presence? Do they have an Instagram? Do they have a Facebook? Is it well managed? Do they have lots of followers? I mean, 4, 5, 6+ thousand people looking at those posts. Do they have a mailing list? Would you like to organize an event where, that local pizzeria, you're hosting a virtual webinar talking about Italy, or a cooking class talking about making pizza, and you incentivize or recommend to those people who frequent that restaurant to, hey, go get that pizza, shop in your local business, and then tune in for this online event and learn about making pizza, learn about traveling to Italy. And that's one example, right? So there's lots of unique, creative, interesting ways where you can partner with local businesses in your community to build a solid foundation for future growth for both businesses. It's just a matter of finding those companies that fit with what you are excited to sell, what you're excited to talk about, that, those businesses that you already frequent, and to start building those relationships in a business sense so that you can both see the benefits of that. As a GPS team, this is what we love doing, right? Virtual travel talks, getting people excited about the different options they have, allaying their concerns and speaking to their concerns when it comes to travel as consumer demand grows, over the coming months, and as we start to come out of the darkest part of the impact of COVID-19. We've consistently been doing these travel talks, and I foresee a growing demand for them. And it's always our favorite thing to do, is speak to the reasons why people can travel and why we operate as a business. And that comes around to driving the conversation and driving a positive conversation, right? If you're going to be on social media, if you're going to be marketing, you can control that narrative. You can speak to what's important to you. There is tons of good news stories out there. There's so many ways that travel and tourism positively benefit the individual and positively benefit the communities and the places that you go to. All the things that G Adventures does in terms of G for Good, visit planetera.org, look at the projects that we've set up as an organization. There is so much good news out there. We've always worked to lead the conversation around, mitigating potential downsides to travel and unintended consequences of travel. We have our Retravel Live series. The first one was a couple of weeks ago, Bruce moderating and talking to a panel of experts about how we can work to make travel and tourism more sustainable. On October the 15th, he's sitting down with Dr. Jane Goodall to speak to animal welfare and conservation and education, and how travel has played such an important role in that aspect of the industry. And these will continue over the coming months, again, to help shape that conversation and show people the importance economically, socially, and environmentally of the travel industry. And ultimately, there are lots of training resources for you as well. If you're just starting to think about adventure travel, just starting to think about different ways of diversifying your business, or if you're already, a massive G supporter but want to keep up to date with all the new stuff that's coming out, Sherpa is your best friend. We have the Agent Backpack in Sherpa, where there are lots of recorded webinars, there's lots of new content, training modules, including the training module around National Geographic journeys, the new module around 18 to 30-something itineraries and travel, and so much more. That webinar that I spoke to on social media marketing, there's a lot of resources in there. And ultimately, we are your resource as well. You've got your GPS team across Canada here to help. So Erin in BC, myself in Alberta, as well as Eastern and Northern Ontario. Ernie's helping you out if you're in the prairies, or sorry, if you're in Southern and Western Ontario and the Maritimes. And then Sean is looking after Manitoba and Saskatchewan, while Joanne is away on mat leave as well. So we are a resource for you, a tool for you to use if you want to have deeper conversations about any of the topics that I've touched on during this presentation. Please reach out, let us know. We are here to help support you. G Adventures is where it is today because of the support of agency partners right across Canada. You are the agents of change in this industry. You are the original influencers. The importance of seeking expert and professional advice when it comes to travel, I think, has never been more apparent than it is right now. Every single style of travel is now high touch, from booking a flight to traveling to Tanzania, and to learn about the wildlife and the culture of the people there. Ultimately, I want to thank you for the extremely hard work that you have all been doing throughout the course of this pandemic. and the ways that you've been working with your clients to support their needs, and also to, be positive and speak to the positive benefits and impacts of travel and tourism, and be that trusted source of information on all things travel related. There is power in that, and I just really want to thank you for your support, and we are here to help. Ultimately, the number one response that we get when we start talking about webinars is, hey, could you make them a little bit shorter? So I wanted to cover the content. Obviously, this is recorded. If I've gone through a little bit too quickly, I apologize, but I also wanted to cover the content, have time for questions, and of course, it is all recorded. So if you want to go back, take a bit of a deeper dive, and look at some of the topics I've covered, then please do so when going through the recording and looking through those additional resources we have. But it is time for questions. This is always my favorite portion, because this is very much one way, right, with me going through a deck. But I'm here, I'm live if you're not watching the recording, and would love to answer some questions while we have the chance.
Awesome, Gary. Thank you so much. I just love that picture, especially for the question portion. If any of the agents has more questions, please feel free to type them in so we can answer them. And for now, the question is, do you require travelers to wear a mask during your tours?
Not throughout the entirety of the tour, but yes, mask wearing is mandated on G Adventures trips where social distancing is not able to be guaranteed. I would also say that in the vast majority of countries around the world, masks are increasingly being mandated in certainly indoor locations. So, I mean, if we're going into cultural sites, if we're going into museums, then we will obviously be following the guidelines laid out by those, by those institutions, and making sure that we're abiding by local laws. Over and above that, there's many layers to safety. There's the international levels, right, with those protocols that have been put in place. There's the local level, there's the government level, and then G Adventures also, we have a responsibility to ensure that our travelers are safe, but also the people in that destination are safe as well. So we will do everything within our power to mitigate the risk of transmission, both for the travelers who are on that trip, but also for the people in the often rural and remote communities that we visit. The healthcare systems globally and many of the places we operate as a business are not as robust as they are in Canada, the US and Europe and other places. So we will do everything that we can to ensure safety, and mask wearing is being seen increasingly as a big part of that. So the short answer is yes, it is enforced on our trips in certain circumstances.
Thank you. Do you offer any travel or COVID-19 insurance?
So COVID-19 insurance is available to your clients. I mean, you can speak when you book through Sherpa. You can get in touch with us, and we are able to offer insurance to your clients. There are a number of different ways of getting insurance for your clients. I can just say that yes, we can offer it, but there is no agent commission currently on the insurance available through G.
Thank you. And you mentioned commissions. Do agents, what commission do agents get? And also the question is about the FAMs, if you're organizing any FAMs in the near future.
Yeah, so commissions vary by partner, and definitely speak to your, you'll be able to speak to me directly if you have questions around commissions, or get in touch with your consortia, the partner that you're with. And then as far as FAMs, right now, we have very limited operations as an organization. We are working to expand the level of operations, and that will only grow as the days go by. But ultimately, it's a little bit too soon for us to be organizing FAMs. Ensuring that we're supporting our agent partners and ensuring that we are able to offer you, agent rates and incentives to travel is a high priority for us. We have had multiple commitments, and it comes up in conversation frequently as we talk as a group with the senior leadership team around ensuring that we're continuing to support you. And ultimately, if travel agents aren't out there, showing their communities and their clients that it is safe to travel, then it's going to slow the recovery, and it's going to be more difficult to enable people to have that confidence. So we do see it as our responsibility to begin offering incentives to travel and doing FAMs and things like that in the future. It's just, yeah, I don't have any dates right now.
Thank you. And I believe our last question is, do you have any images from your tours that agents can use for their social media promotions?
Thank you for that question. That is awesome. Yes, we do. So when you're in Sherpa, you can go in and just click the asset library link. So on the right-hand page, the right-hand side of the Sherpa homepage under resources, it's also, if you click on the link for the agent backpack, you'll find the asset library. You can register for the asset library. It's a manual process. It can take a couple days for us to get back to you to say, oh yeah, here is your login details. That email also comes from Frontify, our host platform for the asset library. And so sometimes it ends up in your junk mail, and we apologize for that, just because it's not coming from an @GAdventures address. Within that asset library, there are literally thousands of images. You know, pretty much all the images you've ever seen on any GAdventures deck is going to be in there. There's also movie or video resources. There's lots of, yeah, the flat sheets. A lot of that stuff is going to be in the asset library. If you need any help, support getting logged into that, then let me know and I can help with that. And also, Kate, I'll send you the link so that when you do the follow-up email, and if you're watching this after, you can just scroll through that email and be like, oh yeah, look, here's the registration link for the asset library at GAdventures. We only ask that if you're using GAdventures assets, please do make sure you are promoting GAdventures itineraries. But equally, I had a question where, hey, if I have something posted on my Facebook or Instagram where it's like 4 images, I'm like, you know, what would you prefer to be doing right now, or which country do you want to travel to? Like if you're promoting G specifically and travel in general, then absolutely those assets are there for you, and they are yeah, white label.
Thank you so much. I believe these were all of the questions, but again, I will add Gary's contact information to the follow-up email, as well as link to this webinar, which is being recorded, and also link to the assets library. Thank you so much for everybody who have participated today, and thank you, Gary, for the amazing presentation.
My pleasure. Thank you, everybody who attended live. Thank you, everybody who is watching this after the fact. We really appreciate your support, and we are here to help you yeah, survive and thrive during the disruption that is COVID-19.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.